All right, Garrison and I are here. This is the Monored Devotion deck that he played tonight at FNM, and we're just going to do a quick little deck tech. Hopefully quick. I don't know, we tend to ramble about deck techs.
Sometimes, yeah.
So we'll go over the list real quick here. We've got it arranged in order of converted mana cost, and then that's the sideboard. Yep. So we've got 4 Omen of the Forge and 4 Ember Hauler. Obviously, you need low-end stuff.
Removal, basically.
Yeah, this is like removal and also gives you some card selection. This is like you can get some early beats on, and it's also, removal spell. Yeah. We've got 4 Altar of the Pantheons. Mm-hmm. You want to say anything about this? It's a mana rock.
I like it a lot, just for the simple fact that I didn't realize it until tonight. You gain a life with a legendary artifact in play.
Yeah.
Hence one of the cards that we get to. So when I first.
So yeah, you can, even if you don't need the mana, you can still gain a life, assuming you fit those. Conditions.
Well, and originally I was just like, oh, well, it's a god. There's only a couple like this. Oh wait, no.
Yep.
You often have a Lotus
and a Chandra. Yep. Triggers off legendaries.
No.
No. Legendary
god, okay. Demigod, or legendary enchantment. Oh, it's an enchantment. So it doesn't even trigger off the Lotus.
It doesn't trigger off that.
Lotus.
So anyways, next card, 4 Nyx Lotus. So this is where you're generating a lot of mana.
Yeah.
Because it's adding to your devotion, correct?
Yeah. Yep. And then the Altar of the Pantheon is just good because it
adds one.
It adds the one.
A lot of people seem to be forgetting that it does increase your devotion to each color by 1.
Yep.
So technically you have devotion
for every color.
Yeah.
And every combination of colors, I believe.
Yeah.
I guess
I would assume
it says in each combination, which is odd, but
so then we've got 3 Iron Crag feet. Iron Crag?
Yeah, I think it's right, yeah.
So obviously you're using this to ramp into some of the stuff down there.
Yep.
We've got 1 Chandra, Fire Artisan. There are 4 Cavalier of Flames. This card's a beast. If you watched the video with me and Garrison in round 1, this thing gets out of hand really fast.
Yep.
We've got 2 Perforos, 1 peasant version, and 1 showcase version.
My version, Matt's version.
Yeah, he had to borrow this one from me.
I think I'm gonna note too.
So this triggers the life gain off altar.
It does, yeah. I actually had another video where I played against Jordan in round 4, I believe it is, and Iron Crag feet adds 7. Cavalier only costs 5. Mm-hmm. So
you can cast it and activate it.
Yeah, very nice. The fact that you don't have to get all the way to the top; it can just start beating in immediately.
So then we've got 2 Chandra Awakened Inferno. I think this card's really positioned well right now because a lot of people are going to be playing counter spells, control decks really, and she can't be countered. So if you saw again in our video in round 1, I had the opportunity to thought erasure Garrison, and I decided to hold up counter magic instead, and he played the Chandra. So
I had another game where that actually happened too. Yeah. My opponent left up exactly Absorb, and I knew about the Absorb, and I hit land 6 off the top and played Chandra, and they actually went to absorb it. I said you can't counter it.
You can absorb it.
You can. But give them the absorb. They wanted to counter it, and it specifically said I'll counter it, so and that ended up winning me the game.
Yep. So then we've got 4 Draku Seths. So this is a card that I really wanted to see play in standard, just because it's like a big flying dragon and it ends the game really fast. So it does say deals 4 damage to any target and then 3 damage to each of up to 2 other targets when it attacks. Sorry. So you can attack for 11. You feed it out and then you're swinging on 5, or you haste it in with Perforos, and you're doming them for 4 and swinging for 7, and then you can pick off 2 blockers, or 3 and whatever. And then we've got 4 Sundering Strokes. Yep. And that is a really good card when it's played in a mono red deck.
Yeah.
So it deals 7 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. But if you paid 7 red, like some things add to your mana pool, it's 7 damage to each of those 3 targets.
It feels really good when you go 7, 7, 7.
Yep. 21 damage.
Yeah.
Yep.
For the low cost of 4.
Right.
And that's the best part about that.
So you said you were actually thinking about adding 1 more feat.
Yeah, I
correct?
think I would have added another feat. Yep.
So is that the only thing you take out the Chandra, put in 1 feat?
The Chandra's good, but I think the Chandra's only really good late game. Mm-hmm. And
you're trying to end it quick.
Yeah, the problem is it's like, oh, great, I have no hand. The Chandra hits the battlefield, but it needs to live for 2 turns to get you any sort of advantage like that.
Yep.
Other than that, the deck is pretty good. I don't believe the deck as a whole is positioned very well in a meta that is creature-based removal. So sure, like, man, people make the comment, well, Perforos is indestructible. Sure, Perforos is indestructible.
Yeah, there's a lot of exile effects.
But these guys aren't indestructible either.
Yeah.
And Chandra closes games.
I mean,
but
so the removal does have to line up correctly.
Yeah.
And if they don't have it, like, you can end games very quickly.
I put a mono red mirror against Jimmy.
And he was playing aggro.
Yeah, he was playing the Cavalcade version and able to take enough damage, and then it was Ironcrag Feet, do a Dracoseth, and the end of the game.
Yeah.
So if you're playing against the right types of decks, or if they appear to be the right meta, you're fine. I expected more aggro tonight being week 1.
Yeah, and there was 3 Esper players, including this guy.
Yeah, it was 3 Esper players and a mono black player that was playing removal.
Yep.
So
you didn't really put a whole lot of thought into the sideboard. You just kind of threw it together because you have no idea what we're going to be playing against.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts? We have 2 Sarkhan the Masterless, 3 Tybalt, 3 Storm's Wrath, 1 Fry, 3 Phoenix of Ash, and then 3 Incendiary Oracle.
Yeah, the card that you don't know what it is.
I don't know
and
what
nobody,
it is.
I don't think anybody knows what it is outside of it. We'll come back to this.
Okay.
All right, because there's a thought process behind that.
What's the thought process behind let's go over all the cards. So starting wherever.
So Sarkhan, so 5 mana Planeswalker, adds Dragon to the battlefield. The fact that you have like the 2 other Chandras, if you had to, you could feed into it a turn early, make yourself a blocker, and then like it can end games by itself. So it was really just like another win condition. So against something like Control, where like your Omens aren't doing it. Like against you, for instance. The Omens aren't going to do a lot of good. I actually sideboarded out 3 of the Omens against you. I put in
3 Tybalts.
3 Tybalts against you, forgetting that like I was going to add the Sarkans.
Or the Fry.
And so again, we'll come back to like why some of these are the.
Well, you should have added Fry to me.
Yeah,
against me.
Some of the numbers I didn't add the Fry because it was a 1 of in the sideboard, and I wanted to go higher on like actual. I probably would have taken out. I taken all 4 of these out, and I probably would have taken some number of Ember colors out. So then I guess Tybalt is just good right now and against a lot of
There's
decks.
a lot of life gain in the Esper decks right now.
Yeah,
so.
It's good against Cat. It's good against like I expected somebody to be playing Mono Black tonight, and it's good against Gary. Gary is such a big life swing, and when you're chipping away. Like you're trying to take large chunks of damage, but you got 1 or 2 shots and that's it. When they go like dome you for 11, like all your work for the entire game is just gone. So that was really where the thought process for the Tybalt came from. Storm's Wrath was your idea.
Yeah, board wipe.
Yeah,
Red gets a board wipe.
Seems perfectly fine.
And I live.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah,
One-sided board wipe.
Yep, it was totally okay. Fry, I actually expected to play 3. Or possibly 4 Fry. I couldn't find the other 3 copies.
Nice.
I think they're in the sideboard of the other red deck.
Yeah.
So
probably.
Which turned out fine because Jimmy borrowed that deck.
Yeah. Jimmy didn't have a new deck, so he borrowed one.
Phoenix of Ash was it's a 2/2 for 3 with haste. My thought process was like,
but it keeps coming back.
Yeah, chipping in over the top, and then the fact that it keeps coming back, and then when it escapes, it's a 3/3, so you can put kind of more of a clock. So if you did have to Wrath or do something,
and it's got fire breathing.
Yeah, I never put it in.
What did you intend to put it in against? Probably Control would be decent.
I think Control would be okay. More of the like board stall mid range was really where it was like my 1 creature meets up against your 1 creature. This kind of allows me to just start chipping away at them.
And if they waste resources on it, it escapes.
Yeah. So it's a repeatable creature, which there's not a ton of creatures in the deck to begin with.
Yeah.
And then the last card is actually Incendiary Oracle. So we talked before the set came out.
It's got fire breathing.
Yeah, Matt's going to have to read the card.
If it would be dealt damage by it, exile it. Okay.
So the point of it's a 2/2 for 2. So blocking early seems relevant. But with the escape mechanic, the new escape mechanic, and then cat oven being so
the sacrifice decks.
Yeah, anything that's like that. Not minding trading off with something like a Gutter Bones because they can't buy the Gutter Bones back later in the game. And the fact so it's a 2-mana pump later in the game. The pump is the same as Cavalier, except Cavalier does it to all the creatures.
Yeah, so it's way different. But
the same mana.
But if you dump 6 mana into it, now you're attacking for 5, and that's a real clock.
Yeah, so the fact that you can make something a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't upset. I actually put this in against Monored. The smaller style decks.
The 1/1s.
Yeah, I think it was really where I wanted to be, and then a mass was a thing, so you're not getting the triggers when things are dying. That seemed relevant, at least. I don't know if it is. We'll have to wait until see.
Yeah, it's week 1.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if there's anything else. I'm sure there's other cards in the sideboard.
There's a ton of cards you could put in the sideboard. It really depends on the metagame and what is actually getting played. So.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't think at this point there's a right or a wrong.
Yeah.
It's really just what you're gonna play against.
Yeah.
Or what you think you're gonna play against, rather.
Yep.
I gotta say, never use the 3-mana ability.
Never cheated something into play.
Nope. A, never got the chance to. But B, usually when you're playing Altars or Nyx Lotus, you just have the mana to cast everything in this deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I drew Drakuseth in game 2 against Mono Black Devotion. I had Perforos on the field, and it was I was able to cast the Drakuseth and not use the extra mana.
You don't need to cheat it in.
Yeah, and the Cavalier, I know some people were big on you get the fact that if you cheat it in for 3, then when it dies, you get to pitch
there's no lands in your graveyard.
I never had a land in my graveyard.
No.
I never played a Cavalier and had a land in my hand.
Yeah, to ditch.
To actually ditch. So I don't know if that's very relevant.
I guess the only thing that I would think is if you have this in play and 6 mana, you cheat. Well, I guess you'd need 8 mana, but you cheat this and this into play and give them all haste.
I could.
If you have that much mana and that many cards still in hand, then that's relevant.
Yeah, but it's there's points in time though where you get to that. It's Ember Hauler. If you have a Lotus in play, Ember Hauler's free. And I had a turn where I could only play Cavalier, and I ended up drawing Ember Hauler, so I was able to play Ember Hauler and play Cavalier and leave up mana to crack the Ember Hauler if I had to, which is just really good. So it generates a lot more mana than I initially thought it was going to, which I think is why there's only 3.
That could be. You can always dump mana into Cavalier, though.
Yeah,
and it just gets even more ridiculous. The game against me, you had Tibalt tokens.
Yeah.
So, that made it hard.
A game against Jimmy, the final turn, I swung for 38. So,
Yep.
Yeah, it ran well, except when I didn't draw lands.
Yeah.
Which brings us
the
I guess
we had, 24 mountains?
There's 24 mountains. I definitely think...
25.
No, I don't think it'd be 25 mountains. We were talked about Fable Passage.
Yeah, just to thin the deck
some
and
number
put
lands in the graveyard for Cavalier. Yeah. And I think there was a lot of times against you, I believe, can I kill that Cavalier? I don't take anything. Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
The only downside is you have to have 7 red for Sundering Stroke. So
yeah, and that's why I think it's you play 2.
Yeah, you can probably get away with 2 because you can always add red here and kind of tweak your mana or whatever. You can still make 7.
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem.
Yeah.
If the only issue with
and the other thing that you could run instead of Fabled Passage would be Field of Ruin.
I think Field's too slow in this deck because there's a lot of times.
You didn't let me finish.
Sorry.
If your metagame has a lot of slower or control decks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Castle Lochthwain, it's a real card. It generates a lot of card advantage over a long game. So Field of Ruin on that would be worth it.
So is the was it Vantress?
Vantress is an okay target.
The blue one. It's not.
Yeah, Ardenvale would be a good target if they're playing that.
So basically the castles.
Yeah, if you hit the castles, you feel pretty good about it, and it's spending your mana for the turn doing that, but you're also replacing the land too. So and like you said, you generate a lot of mana in this deck, so it's probably not even going to be an issue.
Yeah, I just felt there was multiple times where I didn't need any more.
And I guess, like,
I drew more.
You were talking
lands.
about Fabled Passage, and I was thinking about Field of Ruin, which is why I was talking about colorless mana.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Because obviously Fabled Passage
not adding.
is not. Yeah, you're fetching a mountain with that. And the downside of that is you're not doing anything on these turns of the game.
Yeah.
If you draw them in your opening hand.
Yeah, and that was what I was saying. It was like the only downside to it is if that's your third land drop. Mm-hmm. Luckily, if it's in your opener, you can play it on one because there are no ones.
Yeah.
But you can't draw the second one at that point,
Yep.
and you can't draw you can't hit two mountains and draw it as your third land. Because then you don't. You're right. You don't do anything until you hit this portion.
Yeah.
And it's generally, it feels like it's too late. You're behind, and it's really hard to play catch up with this deck.
Yeah.
So.
All right, that's all we got about this deck. So thanks for watching, everybody.